There are times when insecurity speaks louder than our intentions. Have you ever noticed? Sometimes all it takes is a poorly worded phrase, an unnecessarily raised tone, or that almost automatic urge to over-justify ourselves. And, ironically, the more we try to prove something, the less authority we convey. The world doesn't warn you, but pay attention. It's not the one who talks the most who earns respect, but rather the one who speaks with clarity, firmness, and an almost silent kind of self-control that doesn't need to be announced. The truth is, there's a discreet, almost invisible power behind those who master their own emotions. It's the kind of presence that doesn't force boundaries, it simply establishes them. That doesn't demand independence, it simply lives it. That doesn't draw attention through volume, but through the precision of its words. Perhaps you've already met someone like that and wondered, how does this person manage to maintain so much serenity even when everything seems chaotic? The secret may lie in something much simpler than it seems. In this video, you'll discover 5 phrases capable of transforming silent insecurities into solid confidence. The kind that doesn't need to make a sound to be noticed. Phrases that act like small keys, opening the way to more balanced relationships, fairer conversations, and a posture that naturally inspires respect. Get ready. Some of them may seem obvious at first glance, but they carry surprising power when used consciously. And when you understand how to apply them, you'll realize that change doesn't begin with others. It begins with you. It's curious how so many people still believe that speaking loudly is synonymous with assertiveness, when in reality what reveals true authority is the precision of words. There's a huge difference between imposing and communicating, and you've probably noticed how excessive volume often hides a subtle trace of insecurity. When someone tries to convince by force, they lose not only their balance but also the chance to establish boundaries naturally. Real strength lies in choosing each phrase calmly, almost like sharpening an instrument before using it. And this requires self-control, not haste. If you observe carefully, you'll notice that confident people aren't afraid of silence. They use it to their advantage. It's as if the pause says, "I know what I'm doing." This serenity creates impact without raising one's voice. And little by little you begin to understand that power doesn't come from volume, but from inner mastery. When you practice this more conscious communication, something interesting happens. Your presence changes. Serenity begins to occupy the space previously taken by the urgency to over-explain yourself. This doesn't mean speaking little, but rather speaking clearly about what is essential, letting each word fulfill its purpose. Because when you master what you want to say, there's no reason for exaggeration. And, ironically, the less you try to prove yourself, the more respect you receive. Notice how this simple change affects everyday conversations. That conflict at work dissolves before it even takes shape. The family argument loses momentum, and even quick interactions seem lighter. It's as if emotional independence creates space for a healthier dialogue. This was the case for many readers of Think and Grow Rich, who learned that organized thought naturally shapes speech, and speech shapes destiny. To begin applying this, try a simple exercise. Before responding, breathe and mentally reduce the sentence to what truly matters. Ask yourself, what do I want to communicate precisely? Gradually, this practice replaces the old tendency to raise your voice when insecurity arises. It also helps avoid unnecessary justifications, leaving you more aligned with your own center. If you want to deepen this skill, it's worth including readings like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius in your routine, which reinforce the importance of self-control and clarity in human relationships. You will notice that the simple act of pausing instead of reacting creates a kind of quiet authority that no one needs to question. And, step by step, you will discover that when the essential is said calmly, boundaries sustain themselves. Many people imagine that having authority means responding quickly, demonstrating immediate knowledge, or returning any provocation in kind. But Stoic philosophy reminds us of something simple. It's not the event that matters, but rather how you choose to respond to it. When insecurity strikes, it's common to react impulsively, as if every situation demands defense or justification. But this haste weakens clarity and even muddles what you truly think. True strength is born from serenity, from that inner space that allows you to observe before acting. It is there that self-control reveals itself, almost like a filter that separates the essential from the excessive. And the more you get used to using this filter, the more natural it becomes to speak firmly without raising your voice. Serenity has a curious impact on relationships. It creates a presence that doesn't require lengthy explanations and confers a kind of respect that doesn't need to be asked for. People who know how to wait, who can breathe before responding, transmit a security that inspires confidence. It's the same feeling you get when talking to someone who isn't shaken by provocations. That person's emotional independence is evident. And this doesn't mean being cold or distant. It simply means maintaining one's own boundaries even when the environment tries to undermine them. Think of calm leaders, patient teachers, or colleagues who never let themselves be carried away by chaos. They show, in practice, that emotional precision is worth more than any impulsive reaction. To cultivate this kind of silent authority, begin by observing your own body. Notice when your shoulders tense, when your breathing shortens, when the automatic urge to respond quickly arises. This is the perfect moment to apply the Stoic teaching. Pause, organize, and only then communicate. You can even create small rituals, such as taking a sip of water before responding or taking 3 seconds of silence before speaking, and you will see how this alters the dynamic. Authors like Ryan Holiday, in Ego is the Enemy, reinforce the importance of this pause that preserves focus and restores self-control. First, it may seem strange, but over time, this calmness transforms into a kind of personal signature, a form of discreet, firm, and deeply respected authority. Setting boundaries is often a major challenge for those who live with some degree of insecurity. Often, the fear of displeasing others causes a person to talk too much, hesitate, or even back down when they should simply state their position clearly. That's where these 5 simple, direct, and precise phrases come in. They act as anchors, helping you maintain self-control even when emotional pressure mounts. Interestingly, when using them, you realize you don't need to justify your decision, raise your voice, or create an elaborate speech. Simply state each one calmly and firmly. This simplicity restores a sense of inner independence, showing that you can protect yourself without hostility. These phrases also serve to reorganize the dynamics of conversations. When someone oversteps your boundaries, it's very common to feel internal pressure to give in, explain, or soften your stance excessively. But by using short, objective phrases, you avoid getting lost in an emotional labyrinth and maintain focus on what really matters. It's the famous quiet authority. You don't threaten, you don't provoke, you simply assert yourself. And this posture inspires respect naturally. It's like adjusting the tone of the conversation without increasing the volume. The precision of these phrases prevents you from getting lost in excess and, at the same time, prevents the other person from advancing without realizing it. They balance the dialogue and preserve your serenity. If you want to start using them in your daily life, try putting them into practice first in light situations, small demands, unwanted interruptions, or requests you can't fulfill. This way, you train your voice and strengthen your inner firmness. Over time, you'll see that asserting yourself ceases to be exhausting and becomes almost automatic. Readings like The Courage to be Disliked help reinforce this sense of independence and show how the strategic no protects your energy and peace. Don't wait to be fully prepared. Start little by little, adjusting your tone, clarity, and self-control. With each conscious use of these phrases, you'll realize that true authority isn't noisy, it's precise. Many people grow up believing that tolerating inappropriate behavior is a sign of maturity or patience. But in practice, accepting disrespect only fuels insecurity and silences oneself. Saying this is not acceptable is not arrogance. It's pure self-control, coupled with the clarity of someone who knows what they deserve. Refusing certain attitudes demonstrates emotional firmness and helps build more solid boundaries. And the most interesting thing is that when you reject disrespect calmly, without raising your voice or justifying yourself, people begin to see you with a different level of respect. Not because you argued, but because you showed silent authority. This posture conveys a sense of inner independence that is difficult to ignore. This calm rejection acts as a mirror for the other person. When they realize you don't engage in emotional games or accept minor provocations, they adjust their behavior almost automatically. This type of authority doesn't stem from anger, but from the precision with which you define what is acceptable and what crosses your boundaries. Often, insecure people think that interrupting a toxic attitude will generate conflict, but in reality, the conflict already exists. You're just naming what has always been there. It's like closing a door that should never have been left open. And the more you practice this stance, the more natural it becomes, until it becomes a reflection of your own emotional self-control. To begin applying this, observe situations where you normally remain silent to avoid tension. Choose one, preferably something light, and practice a simple stance. I'd prefer you said it another way, or I don't agree with that approach. Say it calmly, without irony, without justification, simply stating it firmly. You will notice that the feeling of anxiety decreases each time you act clearly. Books like Boundaries by Henry Cloud help to understand this internal construction of emotional independence. Over time, you not only reject disrespect, you neutralize it before it even happens because your posture speaks before your words. One of the most sophisticated forms of self-control is knowing when to continue a conversation and when to end it. Insecurity often pushes people into long dialogues, full of explanations and unnecessary detours, as if talking more guarantees clarity. But, in reality, prolonging what is already resolved only creates wear and tear. Deciding to end a conversation is not escapism. It's serenity. It's the perception that your energy has limits and shouldn't be wasted on discussions that don't progress. This awareness brings with it a sense of independence, because you stop feeling hostage to the opinions of others and begin to act with emotional precision. When you master this choice, something powerful happens. Dialogues become lighter and more direct. People begin to see you as someone with firmness, capable of leading conversations without getting lost in justifications. The dynamic itself changes. The other person realizes they can't drag the conversation out forever, nor manipulate the course of the discussion. This generates immediate respect because your posture makes it clear that you value time, peace, and mental clarity. And, in a way, this ability to determine the right moment to conclude an exchange of ideas is one of the greatest marks of silent authority. It's the kind of skill that differentiates those who react from those who decide. To apply this, try establishing small internal rules. For example, if the conversation starts going in circles, you pause. If you realize you're repeating the same thing for the third time, you end it. If you notice the dialogue is turning into an argument, you take a deep breath and suggest continuing later. Saying things like, "I think it's better if we resume later," requires composure, but it builds firm boundaries and demonstrates emotional independence. Readings like The Power of Habit help create this kind of mental discipline. Over time, you realize that ending a conversation at the right moment is a form of respect, not only for the other person, but, above all, for yourself. One of the most profound changes in the life of someone dealing with insecurity is realizing that they don't need to agree with others to maintain respect and harmony. True independence begins precisely there, when you can uphold your point of view calmly without aggression or submission. This liberation happens when you discover that thinking differently is not an attack, it's a right. And, as you develop inner clarity, the need for lengthy explanations disappears. You begin to speak precisely, expressing what is essential, and this naturally creates authority. Not the imposed authority, but the authority that arises from knowing your own emotional limits. This independence of thought also changes how you conduct conversations. Instead of seeking approval, you seek understanding. Instead of over-justifying, you present your point firmly and listen to the other person calmly. People who function this way transmit a silent confidence that is almost impossible to ignore. And, ironically, the less you try to be accepted, the more respect you receive. The serenity of this posture invites the other person to do the same, to speak honestly, without beating around the bush, without pressure. It's as if the conversation gains space to breathe, because there is no dispute, only exchange. This is the true strength of those who do not depend on the validation of others to exist. To begin developing this independence, try practicing self-assessment. Before taking any position, ask yourself, what do I really think about this? This simple question illuminates areas you previously left on autopilot, repeating opinions to avoid conflict. If you want to delve deeper into this process, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***ck by Mark Manson can help strengthen this sense of authenticity. Over time, you will realize that speaking clearly, using emotional precision, and supporting your thoughts with self-control makes your boundaries clearer. And this clarity creates a quiet authority that stems precisely from your independence, not from the expectation of pleasing others. Respect never comes from shouting, pressure, or trying to prove one's worth. It springs from consistency between behavior, words, and intentions. Insecure people often seek shortcuts, trying too hard to please, confronting too much, explaining too much. But over time, you realize that none of that builds real authority. What truly inspires is how you maintain your composure in the face of situations. This calmness reveals self-control, clarity, and a mature understanding of your own limits. And the more you present yourself in this way, the more you realize that respect is, in fact, a reflection of your character and not a prize bestowed by others. This realization brings a powerful freedom. When you understand that respect comes from within, you stop molding your personality to fit others' expectations. This strengthens your emotional independence, allowing you to stand firm without losing the lightness in your words. It's as if insecurity finally loses ground, paving the way for a more centered and stable presence. The precision with which you choose your responses demonstrates maturity and reduces any need for imposition. People who live this way don't intimidate, they inspire. They don't control, they connect. And this kind of presence opens doors that noise never could. If you want to start turning this into a habit, observe the small daily choices. How you speak to those who disagree with you, how you react to interruptions, how you respond to unexpected criticism. It is in these moments that character is revealed. Working on this posture can be facilitated by practices such as writing an emotions journal, reading works like The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, and consciously reviewing your attitudes at the end of the day. Each gesture aligned with your inner clarity reinforces your own authority. And, little by little, external respect becomes merely an inevitable reflection of the coherence you build within. Ultimately, everything we've explored here points to the same place. Building a confidence that doesn't need to be proclaimed, it just needs to be lived. But none of this works if it remains only theoretical. Therefore, I want to leave you with some questions worth considering for your daily life. In what moments do you notice that insecurity still interferes with what you say? In which conversations do you feel you lose your clarity? And what would change if you started, from today, to apply just one of the attitudes we discussed? Perhaps you'll discover that serenity isn't as far away as it seems. Perhaps you'll realize that your limits already existed. You just needed to uphold them more firmly. Or perhaps the simple act of choosing your words carefully will reveal an authority you've always possessed but haven't yet used to your advantage. And if this transformation starts small, even better. That's how profound changes happen, from the inside out, one conscious decision at a time. So, before you go about your day, I have an invitation for you. How about continuing this journey of self-confidence and growth with me? Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and follow each new piece of content. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready to go even further, and I want to walk that path with you.